Hi guys, in this particular video we are learning Introduction to MOSFET, that is module number 1, and in that we are learning the topic that is MOS theory. So before understanding the metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor, we'll have to learn what exactly MOS, that is metal oxide and semiconductor. So why we did choose MOS, that we'll have to learn. Metal, oxide and semiconductor, if you see, all three are of different category of the material that we learn. Metal is nothing but the conductor, oxide is nothing but the insulator, and semiconductor is obviously in between them, that is semiconductor only. Okay, so why do we choose this metal oxide semiconductor as far as the transistor is concerned? Okay, because if we learn the energy band diagram perspective with each and every material, that is metal, oxide and semiconductor, if we learn the metal, okay, so for metal we will require the energy band, these are overlapped. So this is valence energy band, this is the conduction energy band. Valence energy band is overlapping the conduction energy band, so I will not get the energy gap. In short, I can say that even at room temperature, this energy band is for room temperature, right? So at room temperature, I can say I will get free electrons for conduction. So that is the property of the metal we have, and this energy level is the infinite energy level. Okay, so electrons cannot reach towards the infinite energy level. Once we get at the conduction level, they start conducting. Okay, now in the another part, that is oxide, oxide is nothing but the insulator. Oxide is what? Oxide is insulator. Metal is nothing but the conductor. Now in the oxide, that is insulator, we learn that the property of the insulator is such that if we draw the energy band diagram, this is E infinite, right? This is nothing but the conduction band EC, and I will get the significant amount of band gap between valence energy level and conduction energy level. So this is your zeroth energy nearest to the orbit, which is at near to the nucleus of an atom. This is Eg, that is energy gap, which is much more than that of 5 electron volts. Okay, so probably generally it comes around 9 electron volts as well. So basically we would require large amount of energy to move the electron from valence band to conduction band. Okay, so this is of a different category of material. Third category of the material we will learn, that is nothing but the semiconductor. Now in the semiconductor we have different scenario as far as the energy band is concerned. If this is the EC, right, this will be your EV and this will be your E0. Okay, so I will be having less band gap. So this Eg is less than 3 electron volts. So if I am having less band gap, then I can say that very less amount of energy is required to move electron from valence band to conduction band. Now just imagine that this is nothing but the semiconductor, this is nothing but the insulator, and this is nothing but the metal, that is a conductor. If I club together, then each and every energy level will mix together such that I can move the charge carrier, that is electron. Probably if I am considering n channel, then the electron should move from metal to oxide towards the semiconductor region. Okay, so that flow is restricted by this insulator. Okay, and that insulator is required Eg amount of energy required to move electron from EV to EC, right? So that's why we required this metal oxide semiconductor as MOS theory. Now we'll learn what exactly MOS theory is associated with this metal, oxide as well as semiconductor. Okay, so let us consider that the first complete MOS theory we will learn. This MOS theory is also called as two-terminal MOS. Two-terminal MOS. Okay. Now in two-terminal MOS, I can say that I will be having one terminal is sandwiched between one particular material, that is oxide, is sandwiched between semiconductor and metal. Okay, so let us consider that this is the metal. Okay, I'll say that with blue line, this is nothing but the metal part. Okay, now after that we'll be having a oxide layer, right? This oxide layer, below that I will draw another material, that is semiconductor. So let us consider, obviously I have already said that in your complete semiconductor, even it is single crystal semiconductor, I will not get the pure semiconductor. Now purposely we want the charge carriers, so we want extrinsic semiconductor. Let us consider that here we are having p-type semiconductor. Okay, now if I am considering p-type semiconductor, I will be having more number of electrons, that is majority charge carriers. Majority charge carriers are electron and majority charge, cut please this majority charge carriers electron part. Now these majority charge carriers are not electrons, majority charge carriers are positively charged, that is hole, and minority charge carriers are negatively charged, that is electron. Okay, now if I am considering, if I apply this to one terminal and this to another terminal, that forms your two terminal MOS. Okay, so this forms your MOS, that is MOS. Sometimes they called it as two terminal MOSFET as well. Okay, but that does not form any transistor as such, so we will right now will consider only MOS. Okay, so what will happen if we apply one particular voltage to this particular two terminal? Okay, so if we apply the potential, right, V for this metal, oxide and semiconductor region, that means if I apply positive potential to metal and negative potential to semiconductor, how my charge carriers will flow from semiconductor to oxide, oxide to metal, whether it will flow or not flow. Okay, what will happen, that we'll have to study. Okay, so let us consider that this complete operation, this complete theory is divided into three regions. One is accumulation, another is depletion, and third one is inversion. Okay, so accumulation, depletion and inversion, that is, these are nothing but the operations that we follow step by step. Okay, let us consider the first operation, that is accumulation. Now in accumulation process, what happens exactly? Consider the same layers, one below the other. In actual case, what happens? We have one silicon wafer and above it we form another layer, that is called as an oxide layer. Generally that oxide layer is of SiO2, that is silicon oxide layer. Okay, and over that oxide layer we form a metal layer. We connect the metal we connect the metal to the oxide layer. Okay, so consider this as M, this as oxide, okay, and this as semiconductor. Okay, so that forms your MOS. Now what we'll have to do? Consider that here I will apply, suppose, initially negative voltage. Okay, initially I am applying negative voltage, and obviously this is connected to ground. So it seems that here basically I am applying a potential supply such that positive terminal of supply is connected to the metal, sorry, negative terminal is connected to the metal and positive terminal is connected to the semiconductor part. Okay, so I can say what will happen. Obviously we have considered p-type semiconductor. In p-type semiconductor, majority charge carriers are holes. So all these rounds I have considered are nothing but the holes. Okay, what will happen? As this is negatively charged and this is positively charged with respect to this metal, okay, so all these holes which are positively charged gets attracted towards the metal side. But what will happen exactly? This silicon oxide layer will require very high amount of energy for electrons in valence band to move towards the conduction band. So basically when the holes try to enter into this oxide layer, they are not allowed by SiO2 layer, that is oxide layer. This is because of which all these holes, all these holes gets accumulated in these region beneath the silicon semiconductor and oxide layer. So I can say that whatever region gets formed due to holes accumulation, and that forms a positive charged layer. Okay, and these all holes that are positively charged just gets accumulated near the silicon and oxide interface. Okay, so that's why the operation is called as accumulation. Okay, now whatever accumulation is done, okay, this operation is completed. Now all the holes trying to move towards the metal and it forms the layer near the silicon semiconductor and oxide interface. So I can say, let's move to the another operation. This operation, in this operation we will just change the voltage supply to metal with respect to your silicon material. Okay, so second operation is depletion. Okay, same way I have connected the metal part, I have connected the oxide layer, and I have connected the semiconductor. This is of p-type. Now in the accumulation process we have connected negative supply, negative terminal of battery to metal part, and positive terminal is connected to the p-type semiconductor silicon. Okay, so initially in the depletion region, cut this part. Now in the initial process of the depletion operation, what will happen? Already I have the accumulation of the positive charge carriers, that is nothing but the accumulation process ka end. At the end of the accumulation process, we will just try to have different potential supply such that positive potential connected to the metal and the negative potential is connected to the silicon semiconductor. Okay, so this is nothing but the I am connecting external battery whose positive terminal is connected to the metal and negative terminal is connected to the p-type semiconductor silicon. Okay, so due to this positive, now metal is connected to the positive, but this positive is not much greater than 0. It is nearly equal to 0 but at the positive side. So I can say that it is nearly equal to 0, right? If it is nearly equal to 0 but it is at positive side, more or less these all the positively charged carriers will again jump back towards the bottom side of the silicon layer. Once these all holes jump towards the bottom side of this p-type semiconductor silicon surface, then I can say that once hole are getting accelerated towards the bottom side, ions are left and these ions are depleted of the carriers. That's why whatever layer forms once these holes are all coming towards the bottom side of the silicon, whatever layer I will be getting, this layer will become depletion layer. This layer is called as depletion layer. Now what is exactly depletion? Depletion is nothing but, in the depletion layer we will be having all the ions depleted of the carriers. So basically ions without free carriers in this particular region I will be getting, right? So as we move further for the positively charged towards the metal side, what will happen, that we will get in the next operation, that is called as inversion. Okay, now in the inversion process, the same way we will do all the subjective to depletion operation. All the positively charged carriers are coming back towards the p-type, and here we will be getting the depletion region. So just before the inversion process, here we will be getting the depletion region. Okay, now as I've said that even though I have p-type of semiconductor, there are some minority charge carriers are present. Okay, so we can say what will happen, these are electrons, only 3 electrons are present and so many number of holes are coming back towards the bottom side of the silicon surface. Okay, here SiO2 is there to restrict all the charge carrier, whether they are of n type or p type doesn't matters, but this oxide layer will not allow the any charge carriers to move towards the metal side. No, not allowed, right? So in this inversion process we will try to have more positively charged for metal side, right? So if we say that much greater than that of 0. Okay, so as the positive side, positive voltage towards the metal side increases, what will happen, all the holes which are of majority charge carriers are coming back towards the bottom side of the silicon surface, and the electrons which are negatively charged carriers, obviously due to the electrostatic force, they will get accelerated towards the metal. Okay, now what will happen, these electrons will join this particular semiconductor interface. Okay, but as I said, these electrons are of minority charge carriers, right? And already we have depletion region, right? So all the minority charge carriers start accumulating this particular region, and they accumulate this particular region, so that in previous case we have positive charge carriers accumulated at the silicon semiconductor oxide interface, but here now this positively charged accumulation is inverted to the negatively charged accumulation, and that's why the operation is called as inversion. Now at what exact time instant I can say that, at what exact voltage I can say that the inversion layer is getting formed. So the layer which is formed due to the minority charge carriers of the p-type semiconductor, obviously it is of electron, so this particular region is called as inversion region, or it is also called as inversion layer. It has another name called as channel. So with that name we form the type of transistor. Now we have all the negatively charged carrier forms the channel, so I can say that it forms N channel. Okay, now in this case it forms N channel. Now question arises, at what exact voltage I can say that the inversion layer gets formed. So that particular exact voltage is nothing but the threshold voltage. So one important term we'll have to learn, that is threshold voltage. Okay, so the threshold voltage is nothing but the voltage at which inversion layer or channel gets formed. Okay, so we will see voltage. We will learn what is exactly V, G and S. Here we are considering the source, and this we will consider as gate of your complete FET. Okay, so by the time you just learn that voltage, it is nothing but the VGS in the terminal of metal and the semiconductor. So voltage VGS at which inversion layer gets formed. Now again second question comes in your mind, that when I say that ki inversion layer gets formed, right? So there are also some stringent conditions. So I can say that the inversion layer gets formed when the density of the electrons in this depletion region is same as that of density of holes in the remaining semiconductor region. I'll repeat once again, when the density of the electron in the depletion region is same as that of density of the holes in the remaining semiconductor region, then I can say that inversion layer or channel gets formed. Okay, so the condition is electron in it's not inversion layer, depletion region, density of the electron in depletion region should be exactly equal to density of holes in semiconductor. Okay, so I can say that here I will get the channel formation, which is very important to form a bridge between two terminals to flow the current. So suppose I am saying that this is one terminal of transistor, this is another terminal of transistor, and now I don't have the bridge between these two terminals such that electrons will flow from one terminal to another terminal. So now if I form the bridge in between these two, I can easily say that yes, the conduction process gets started. So this is all the operation of the MOS structure. Now your question comes in your mind, that how can we implement this MOS in your metal oxide field effect transistor? A very basic fundamental that we have to understand, that here this metal we will consider this as gate of FET, that is MOSFET. This terminal is source of FET, right? And we will say that this source is connected towards the N plus doped region, and another doped region we will form, that is drain region. So here I can say that in between source and drain I will form a bridge through this particular channel. As this is of N plus, that means majority charge carriers are electron. This is of N plus, majority charge carriers are electrons. So electrons will take this path from source to drain, and the conventional current will flow from drain to source. So this is drain and this is source. Generally it is not exactly same as that of your substrate and source. What is substrate, that we'll learn later on. So up till now whatever we have studied is nothing but the MOS theory, in which we have studied the bifurcation of the MOSFET JFET, and then we have learned the different operations of the MOS theory, MOS operation. In that we have learned the accumulation, we have learned the depletion, we have learned the inversion, and after inversion my MOSFET is ready for the conduction, where I reach towards the to the threshold voltage, that is VTH. Okay, so threshold voltage, one part is remaining, threshold voltage is denoted as VTH. Okay, thank you so much, and subscribe the Ekeeda videos and learn more and more ADC.